Thank you for joining us for this short presentation where we hope to convince you that if we wish to strengthen collective oversight and control of our data and increase justice and equity in the digital era, we must enact a solidarity-based approach to data governance. My name is Ilona Kickbusch, and I'm a Senior Distinguished Fellow at the Graduate Institute for International and Development Studies in Geneva and the founder of its Global Health Center. The Lancet and Financial Times Commission on Governing Health Futures 2030, Growing Up in a Digital World, which I co-chaired, explored the opportunities and the risks presented by digital technologies and data in relation to the mission of public health and universal health coverage. We found that the collection and the use of data holds great potential to reduce health inequities and to promote the public good. However, weak governance is allowing vast amounts of data to be extracted from individuals and used in ways that are detrimental to their health and their well-being. Power is shifting towards those companies with the capacity to extract the most commercial value or even political influence from our data. In the Commission's Lancet report, we propose 4 interacting action areas to help address these power asymmetries and rebalance trust in the digital transformation of health. We call for a new approach to digital and data governance based on health for all values, which are democracy, equity, solidarity, inclusion, and of course, human rights. The notion of solidarity is particularly important for understanding the opportunities and challenges brought about by the digital transformations of health. The concept of universal health coverage itself is an expression of a social contract based on solidarity, which we understand as an enacted commitment to carry the costs of assisting others with whom a person or people recognize similarity in a relevant aspect. Social contracts build on a similar solidarity-based approach, emphasizing the simultaneous importance of personal and collective needs, interests, and responsibilities, and they focus on the action where these two overlap. The Commission's recommendation for governments and other stakeholders to enact a solidarity-based approach to data governance aims to strike a balance between protecting individual rights while also maximizing the public value of data use. The Lancet Financial Times Commission has worked closely with Professor Barbara Prainsack and her team at the University of Vienna, who are well-known thought leaders on solidarity-based governance. Last year, we commissioned Barbara and her colleagues to develop a white paper on data solidarity, which expands on what a solidarity-based approach to data governance would look like and how it can be implemented with a particular focus on health. This year, our Commission is transitioning into a digital transformations of health lab. We will be taking forward the agenda of data solidarity as part of our work to advance mission-oriented, precautionary, and value-based approaches to digital and data governance in order to build trust in digital ecosystems. We hope to work with more partners to develop tangible guidance and policy solutions. If you are interested in collaborating with us, then please contact us. Now it's my pleasure to hand over to Barbara to share the highlights from the white paper. Please, Barbara, so happy that you are here.
Professor Kickbusch set the stage very well for the central problem that data solidarity is addressing. There are doubtlessly a lot of benefits emerging from digital practices. I'm sure we don't need to convince the audience here the various benefits that emerge in the field of health and beyond. At the same time, we are in a situation that the risks and the harms that inevitably emerge, wherever there are benefits, there are also risks and harms. They are distributed quite unequally. What data solidarity is trying to do, against the background of good data governance, as outlined by Ilona Kickbusch, it tries to, next to upholding personal individual rights, also to strengthen collective oversight and control. In a nutshell, our starting point is the assumption that just asking individual people to consent to all kinds of things is not enough anymore in the digital age. It's an instrument of the paper age that needs to be complemented by more measures. The data solidarity approach is underpinned by three core. So where data use has or is likely to create significant value, we really, as societies and globally, we need to support those data uses. We need to invest into data interoperabilities. We need to support data sharing in this realm of data use that creates public benefit. We also need to be much better in preventing harm, and we need to make use of black letter law to do that. And we also, where harms still occur, we need to provide better support for people to be protected. The third pillar highlights that where data use doesn't create a lot of public value, but commercial benefits accrue, which is absolutely fine, of course, those benefits, those commercial benefits need to be shared in a better way with the communities and the people that created those data sets and that enable the data use in the first place through the data they created as citizens, as patients, but also the public infrastructures that individual and corporate ingenuity sits upon. So how do we get there? One important measure is to move our thinking and also our regulatory action a little bit more towards not so much thinking, is this data type, is this data set risky, but is this data use risky or beneficial? So we need to move our thinking towards data use. And the data solidarity approach distinguishes between 4 types of data use, and I will only highlight the two extremes, if you will. What you see here, type A in the left-hand upper corner, is data use that was really likely to create a lot of public value, and it doesn't entail a lot of risks. So these are the data uses that we need to do better in facilitating through public investments, also through corporate investments. On the other end, you see type D of data use. So those are the data uses that imply a lot of risks for individuals and or for communities, high risks, and they don't create a lot of public value. So we believe that here we need to be stronger collectively in outlawing these types of data use. So the cases in between where we have low risks and low benefits, or we have high risks and high benefits, these are cases where in the white paper we go into detail in how these should be dealt with, and benefit sharing is one of the instances that can help here. But the elephant in the room so far is public value. I've used the term public value, and Professor Kickbusch has used the term public value a number of times. So what is it? So we can now say in the abstract, data use has public value when the data use has benefits for many people, for societies as a whole, for future generations. And nobody experiences significant and undue harm. But this is an abstract definition, right? So what we're trying to do now in our group and with our collaborators is to really put our money where the mouth is and develop a tool for the structured assessment of the public value of data use. You see here on the slide colleagues who are some of the masterminds behind this, who together with me are developing this. And if anyone is interested in seeing a prototype of the public value assessment tool, which we call Pluto, please do get in touch with me. This is one screenshot of the tool. And again, if you're interested in seeing a prototype of the tool, please do get in touch. The tool will then give you as an assessment as to what public value, the type of data use that you're inquiring about. It's either your own data use or the data use of a company, of a public authority, what public value that use has, and what would need to happen, or what criteria would need to be met for that public value to be higher. In the remaining 4 minutes, I will give you a brief overview of the other aspects in the 3 pillars that data solidarity entails. So facilitating data use that creates significant public value. Here we are thinking in terms of regulatory exemptions. So if it is very plausible that the data use creates significant public value, we need to collectively facilitate that. Regulatory exemptions can be helpful here, but also hands-on support, for example, as FinData or the information regulator in South Africa is providing. So part of what they do, and you will see many more details in the white paper that you can download from the site here. It's, the QR code is in our background. You can also find it online. But just to highlight one thing, some of what those agencies do is to support entities that would use, that would carry out very beneficial data use, and they can't do it because they can't afford to get the permits, they don't have the time, they don't have the resources. And those entities are being helped to do, to use data for public value purposes, so that not only large organizations or rich corporations can use data to create public value. And of course, all those existing institutions have their own problems. We're not endorsing them blindly, but we do believe that these are important templates to help us think what we can do in practical terms to facilitate data use that creates a lot of public value. The second pillar is harm prevention and mitigation. Harm prevention needs to be more effective. Sometimes practices that create harm to people are not even illegal. Think of certain types of foreign interference. This is something that governments struggle with, but also in the health field. There can be harmful uses of data that are not currently illegal, so they need to be made illegal. Think of micro-targeting, ad tracking, that can lead to discrimination and redlining. And where practices are already illegal, we need to just be much more effective with fight and enforcement. When, as I said earlier, in those instances where harms still occur, we need to have better remedies for people who are affected by these harms. Again, you know, if no law is broken, and if you're unable to pinpoint the practice that caused the harm, very often there are no legal remedies. So if anyone is interested in that, this has been published a while ago. And the last point, before I hand over to Professor Kickbusch to close, and the last point is that in the area where data use doesn't create harms, but it doesn't create a lot of public value either, where it creates solely or primarily commercial value, here we need to do better in making sure that some of those benefits are shared with communities. We have global inequities in this regard, and we also have intra-societal inequities here. So we need to do better. There are approaches that entail data taxes, both data taxes and data transaction taxes. Again, they are discussed in our white paper, but we also currently explore the use of benefit sharing agreements. With this, I would like to thank you very much for listening to us, and we look forward to staying and being in touch with you and to your comments.
So thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you, Professor Prainsack. I hope we've been able to get you interested in this concept of data solidarity. I think the whole discussion on data governance and governing the digital transformation can learn a lot from health, in the sense that we have developed both progress in individual health, but also progress in public health. And the principles that apply to public health, which I mentioned in my introduction, but also this view to look at a whole population, is absolutely critical. And I think in bringing these two traditions of thinking together will allow us to take forward this interface of individual data rights and data solidarity. So public health thinking can move us forward in areas beyond public health. And I think the notion of solidarity is very central to this. So thank you very much for your attention, and we hope to be in touch, and we hope this has also given you some ideas how to continue your own work in data governance. Thank you.